And I kind of had, for the first time in my life, like a real serious nervous breakdown. Apparently it wasn't enough. Apparently I needed to slow down and reflect a little more. In tarot, I kept pulling the hermit card, and I just wasn't hermiting enough. Being inspired to really seek your own truth. And Socrates says the unexamined life is not worth living.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise you're just going through the motions, and it's like, what are you doing here? And so then when did you write your book?
Yeah, so I wrote the book beginning of 2019.
Okay.
You know, the story of the reason it came out, I think...
Yeah, because I always like to hear that, because, I mean, it's a lot of work to sit there and be like, all right, I'm committed to writing this book. And there's normally, there's a purpose or a message or a reason behind it, right? That you feel like you want to dedicate all those hours and time and energy to teaching, essentially. So what was that for you?
Yeah, before I wrote the book, I had been working, I was working on several political campaigns as like a digital content producer.
Okay.
I did like documentary style filmmaking and content production, some commercial stuff too for these political campaigns. And I was also working with the Homelessness Services nonprofit, who's actually located not far up the street here, PATH, People Assisting the Homeless.
Yeah.
I've been working with them for 2.5 years, and I came to the end of the election cycle in 2018. And I just was looking at these issues that were being tackled socially. I was looking at the work that PATH does. It's so important, you know, alleviating human suffering on the streets. And I just was kind of struck by, all this is really important, but if we don't get to the root of it, if we don't kind of get in there and get into the spiritual core of why there is so much suffering in the world, then this is going to be a long process, like, of trying to transform from like the top down or from the outside in. So there was a lot of months of my guidance was telling me to get quiet, to sit in tarot. I kept pulling the hermit card, and I just wasn't hermiting enough. You know, I was like,
isn't that funny? Like when we get the same card over and over again, and you're like, you resist it so much. You're like, no, I don't want to rest. No, I don't want to hermit. No, I don't want to turn inside. I want to go outside. Or
totally, there was always something better to do, or at least there was like, oh, but this project's got to get finished, or well, the election's almost up. After the election, I'll sit down and I'll get quiet, you know. And I was meditating. It's been a discipline for years for me, going back to when I was a teenager, but apparently it wasn't enough. Apparently I needed to slow down and reflect a little more. And I kind of had a pretty gnarly shakeup at the end of the year. It had been a stressful couple of years. There was a bit of a fracturing in a relationship that I was in. And I kind of had, for the first time in my life, like a real serious nervous breakdown. And like a full-on panic attack and everything. For someone who's very like in tune and with his body and connected to that, it was weird to have an experience like that, to feel like an uncontrollable kind of breakdown. And that's when I was like, okay, all right, I'll stop. And then literally within days, I started writing and channeling, and like the first draft came out in like 5 weeks.
Wow. You enjoying this so far? Did you forget to subscribe? Make sure to do so. Takes 2 seconds. Just press that little button, the red one. You know the one. Just press it, little like. All right, enjoy the rest of this content.
And stars aligned. I reached out to someone who I knew had just published, and I said, hey, I know you did something, like this thing just like poured out of me. What can I do with it? And she gave me some guidance, and I connected with a friend who was an editor who was in this space. She does intuitive healing and stuff. She was my editor, and she was a huge help because she helped bring a lot of the there's a lot of personal stories in there. There's a lot of personal experience to help kind of contrast the practices and the explorations that we can do, things that might open us up. But it's very much me just opening up my heart and soul, putting it on a platter and be like, hey,
here you go.
This is what was going on. This is how it helped. Maybe it's helpful to you. Maybe not, but the goal is hopefully it's helpful.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like this book that was inspirationally like channeled through you. And as a result, what do you think that the main message or the core of it? You know, I get that, you know, these are things that was helpful for me, that hopefully it's helpful for you, but I mean, what do you hope to get what do you hope readers get from your book?
I hope the number one thing is just an increased awareness.
Okay.
But the other main thing I would say is being inspired to really seek your own truth and your own connection to the soul force, to the life force, to God, the universe, however you frame it.
Yeah.
Those are the most important things, you know. If you don't connect with my background and my stories and my experiences, if nothing else, I hope that it inspires people to really start to walk that path that we all really truly have to walk down, you know, to really awaken. And when I say increasing awareness, to me that's the number one thing, because if we're just a little bit more reflective, Socrates says the unexamined life is not worth living.
Yeah.
You know, if we can get people to engage in that, no matter where you're at on your journey, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise you're just going through the motions, and it's like, I was talking to somebody the other day about that. It's just like, you know, so many people, they just seem like they're existing, not living. They're just going through motions, but they're not, they don't have a thirst or curiosity to learn or grow or understand their self better, or to learn and expand and experience the world more. And it's like, if you don't have one of those, hopefully you have both of those, but if you don't have one of those, what are you doing here? You know, like, and it's like, you know, but I like the quote that you just said. If you like this content, make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment below. And we also have amazing link right there for some cool product. I know you want to check it out. I know you want to click it. Go ahead. Come on. You can do it. All right, until next time, have a beautiful, blessed day.